name is Lance Watkins, and I'm an occupational therapy student at Midwestern University. And today I'm going to be going over my occupation-based kit called the Ball Pit for my activity analysis course. So what you're going to need for the kit and the activity is just a variety of different sports equipment. So you're going to be working with, I have a football, a rubber dodgeball, a basketball, a few tennis balls, and then the throwback item, the Velcro paddles, which can be used with the tennis balls. So all of these items can be found in a variety of different locations like Walmart, Target, or even Amazon. It's important for this activity to know really who it's geared towards. It can be used with a variety of different disorders and conditions, ranging from neurological disorders like dyspraxia, so difficulties in processing motor control, all the way to individuals who are paraplegic, so really engaging in core activities there, all the way to working with patients who have suffered a stroke. So really working on regaining that fine motor control as well as gross motor control. The areas of occupation that this is going to fall under include play, leisure, and social participation. These activities can be done alone, just bouncing the ball up and down, but for this activity we're going to be focusing more on actually playing catch and the variety of different ways we can adapt and modify that activity. So to start out, one of the things that you're going to be working on is strengthening and conditioning. You want to make sure that the individual participating is able to actually fully participate, so making sure that they're able to throw, release, gauging where they are when it comes to how hard they can throw, how far they're able to throw, their ability to catch. You're also going to be working on endurance. So if someone is recovering from like a stroke, their endurance is going to be lower than it used to be. So really working on building that strength back up. We're also going to be working on hand-eye coordination, as well as engaging in core, and again, more specifically, fine and gross motor control. So just the basic activity is going to be just playing catch. So being able to choose which item or which ball is going to best fit for that specific individual. So we're going to be starting off, let's say they're struggling with fine motor control. Let's start off with a larger item. They're not having the difficulty of having to actually grasp around the ball like a tennis ball. This would be more difficult with someone with fine motor control. Instead, starting off with something more like a basketball. Start with the two individuals, or even if the therapist is participating in the activity, working with the patient, starting closer together. And then if they're able to pass the ball back and forth, being able to grade up the activity by spreading further and further apart. And then if that becomes a struggle, grading back down, getting closer to one another. If you notice that they're able to work with the larger ball just fine, maybe making it even smaller. So going with more of a dodgeball or a soccer ball. Really adjusting the item being used according to the needs of the individual. So one other thing that can be considered is really the textile of the item. So with a basketball, they tend to have somewhat of a grip, and then rubber items as well, they're easier to catch. So more specifically, I purchased this football because it not only is bright, it's going to be easily visible, but it also has good texture to it. Even though it's a little bit larger, you're going to be working with patients that are going to be able to grasp it a lot easier because it does have more of a sticky texture to it. So that's one way that you can grade up and down the activity, is making sure that you have items that are going to be easier to catch and throw for those participating. You're able to adapt these activities based on where you're really doing it. So you can do it inside of a home as well as outside. You're really able to extend the distance if you're outside, obviously. You're also able to adapt the activity if you incorporate other items. So if you're working with someone that's struggling with the fine motor control when it comes to catching an item, So if you're struggling with catching the tennis ball, you can incorporate these Velcro paddles so that catching no longer is the issue, but really we're going to be focusing on that gross motor control, really working on twisting the body, turning and releasing. So we're still working on some fine motor control, but if they're constantly dropping the ball in the beginning, this might be a kind of a boost to motivation that they're still able to catch it without difficulty. And then again, once they become comfortable enough to really try and go to catch the ball themselves again, that's when you can remove this from the activity and get back to focusing more on both hand-eye coordination when it comes to catching as well as fine motor control. Some of the just playing catch is going to fulfill the leisure participation aspect of the activity, but when you want to introduce the play, that's when you can have some of these games be included, like 21. So if I was to play catch with a patient, if I were to throw the ball and they were to catch it in front of their face, that would be 2 points. If they were to catch it in front of their chest, that's 1 point. If it's not in the area on either side, that's 0 points. The goal of the game is to get to a score of 21. And then even this game can be graded up and down. You can choose to go to a lower score if we're struggling with endurance. And then if you see them not having a problem with it at all, honestly, you can make it up to a higher point game. I've seen these sorts of activities really motivate clients to be able to participate in therapy. Moods will change, interests will change, and then it's really going to spread out to the rest of therapy. You not only are engaging in fine motor control, gross motor control, but you're also working with activities like dynamic standing balance. So really working on balance as a whole, working on core strengthening. It really does, this activity does spread out to all areas of occupation. One thing that you can also do is another way to grade up and down the activity is changing up if they're struggling with leg strength, you can even have them sit down. This activity is just fine if you're able to sit down. Standing up obviously is going to be more difficult, and then if you want to engage core more, you can have the people actually kneeling down, and then it's a lot more about rotating the trunk and really engaging core. And one other thing that you're able to do to actually grade up and down, one trick that I found out is if you're able to buy those smaller soccer balls, you can actually cut off the hard material on the outside, and it's a really it's more of a rubber ball that has a very easy to grip texture, and you can even deflate balls a little bit and really help individuals focus on that are struggling with fine motor control, because they're able to really grasp onto it, and then the ball actually has a little give to it, so they're actually able to hold on to it a lot better. So this is my occupation-based kit. It has a variety of different ways it can be adapted and modified, and it really can be used with a lot of different materials. One thing that I would just add is if they're really doing well with spherical balls, you can actually introduce like the football, because it's a completely different manner of release. And so not only are you trying to get it to the other individual, but you can have them focusing on trying to throw a spiral, which is a lot more difficult than it sounds. So that is my occupation-based kit. Thank you.